All right. Welcome, everybody, to 2023. Welcome back to the Serious Angler Podcast. Happy New Year, everybody. As always, well, if this is your first time coming to the Serious Angler Podcast, I'm your host, Bailey Eichbrett. And to my right here is the captain who's usually with me on every show, Mr. Andy Fole, or he's running it on his own while I'm out running all over God's green earth. And joining us tonight at the bottom of the screen is the host of our Business from the Bass Boat segment, Mr. Adam Deacon. Fellas, what's going on?
Oh, just hanging in there. It's been, as everyone in the world knows, it's been a somber day in the Buffalo community. So
Bills country.
Yeah. It's quite crazy what happened on national TV last night. And just we're hanging in there. There's good signs coming, but yeah, we're basically that's where like all of our mental capacity is in this community at the moment. So, but I did get to go out and go fishing today, so that was nice. I stomped around a creek, caught some fish, and kind of just like disappeared from social media and constantly listening and praying for updates. And yeah, it was nice. Took a 6-mile walk. It's kind of crazy. Haven't done that in a while. Huffing and puffing when I got back to the truck.
It's a good start for you.
Yeah.
But it's dude, it's like I'm not even. I think everybody could say it. I'm not even a Bills fan, but it was a gloomy day to be a sport fan or even just a human being. Like it sucks to one, watch that happen live, and then two, just kind of when you come back to earth and realize that all these guys that we idolize as superheroes are humans too.
Yeah.
And I know we're not the first people to say this, but it's just kind of it's very humbling because you kind of realize how real life actually is and how quickly it can change just like that, even if you're doing something you love. Even us as fishermen. I mean, we've
driving down the road, man.
Yeah, driving to the boat ramp. It's a bad day, or it's a bad year, honestly, for Buffalo. It's been a rough year for the United States, and frankly, between the hurricane, the snowstorm, the various things that have happened throughout the country. But I will say, we're not going to focus on this for too long because I know people are seeing it everywhere, and we want to talk fishing tonight. But one thing, I think there's one thing we could take positive out of it is while it's somber and we're all kind of like waiting for better answers and more positive stuff here, it is cool to see everybody coming together and support here, regardless of background. If you like sports, if you don't like sports, like if you're just a genuine human being, everybody's kind of backing DeMar, and I think that's something that's really cool right now. And I think if anything, he's got the whole world in his corner. So we're obviously pulling for him, not just being Buffalonians, but just being human beings too. But yeah. So to switch that, it just didn't feel right to go into tonight's live stream as my cat locks himself in our office. So beware, he's about to freak out.
Happy 2023, guys. Let's have a party.
Oh, he's so dumb. But to switch gears, because like I say, it didn't feel right to not call attention to that. But we have some pretty cool news. And just give me 1 second to open the damn door for this.
Oh, so yeah, as Bailey was saying, as he's coming back here, we have some pretty awesome news going.
Never get a cat.
Here going forward in 2023. But now that the man is back, I will let him talk.
No, did I mess up?
No. I kind of finished your sentence.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Carrying on with that, now that we're done being interrupted by a feline, is 2023. We've been hinting at it for probably the past month and a half. Apparel is finally here. Website is up and ready to rock. So if you guys want to rock some serious angler merch, some from the Bass Boat merch, some serious dangler merch that we have coming, which we'll unveil here further when we get some more designs done, which is gonna be actually really fun. I'm gonna do a quick tutorial for you guys that are tuning in live or watching on YouTube. If you're listening on MP3, bear with me really fast. But pretty easy. SeriousAnglerNetwork.com. You can go here just to shop our apparel, check out some of the recent episodes, check out our amazing show partners, some that will be joining us tonight. And then go here to shop apparel, and you can shop by show, or you can just kind of go browse everything that there is to get on the Serious Angler Network. One thing for you guys to preface while going to order apparel is hats will not ship until March 1st. So you can order them. You can stake your claim on a hat, but they will not send until March. And that's just for the time being. It's not going to take that long. Say if you order past March, it's not going to take that long to ship. It's just for our first orders, getting things in motion and getting things set up to ship to you guys. So pretty excited. And Deacon's been working pretty hard on some serious dangler ideas and for some t-shirt stuff. And I think we're pretty pumped. Anything to weigh in on that, boys?
No, just excited, man. It's been a long time coming. You've been putting a ton of work in on the website and all of us and just getting this out there. And I'm glad to see it come to fruition. Yeah, we have pro staff now. Want to be a serious thing. Pro staff.
Steve, go ahead, Andy.
I was going to say, whoever wants to buy apparel can totally rock the Serious Angler, whatever show they love to listen to most. And yes, you can be a pro staff by what's that word I'm looking for? That's on the tip of my tongue. By proxy. Pro staff by proxy.
There you go. 0% off.
0% off, baby.
We truly wish that we could give percentages off on things, but it just unfortunately, it's the way it is.
Apparel's a slim margin game. We're looking for to grow the brand. This isn't like a money maker. It helps the channel. Don't get me wrong, but it's to get the word out.
Yeah,
it's. I'm sure on some occasion we might try to throw some discounts for you guys, but obviously with us trying to order apparel and everything, there's not a lot we can do yet. That's not saying in the future we can't. But what's cool about this too is we're gonna be able to. We've talked a lot internally how we want to do some good with this platform and give back to not just people fishing, but things we care about just in general. And we have some stuff coming down the pipe that, to try to benefit and give back to veterans and, different things like breast cancer and such like that. And we have some stuff on the back end that we're working on. So it'll be a cool place to try to do a little good, help out for 2023. That's definitely an initiative we want to take on. So look forward to that. If you guys are listening to all episodes, our website will always be on social links as well as on every show description, MP3, YouTube. And that same goes for all of our discount codes and such for the coming year. And yeah, Steve Fields is actually makes Hobie BOS run in the chat. So Steve Fields is our first pro staffer.
Fantastic.
Yes. That's right.
Now, the other thing I do want to throw in there about the apparel, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Bailey, but I do believe in every t-shirt, hoodie, long sleeve, there are multiple different colors people can choose from. Correct?
So if you don't want a flat white, if you're like me where you can't own white apparel because it stays clean for 2 hours. There's silver.
2 hours. Give me 10 minutes. It's trashed.
Yeah, that's a great call out too. Yeah, there's a bunch of different options, and honestly, we're probably gonna be adding more to it. We're gonna be playing around with some different things, and if there's things you guys don't like, obviously no one wants them, we'll take them off. But we're gonna try to keep working to add that and have some fun with this brand, especially on the serious dangler side of things, because we have our not so serious shows that we call the serious dangler shows, but that's gonna be a cool line of the brand where we're gonna have a little fun because obviously serious angler. There's times where we like to have fun too, so. Look out for that. That'll be constantly updating, and with social and stuff and the show, we'll be making sure you guys are up to date on when new stuff comes out. So that's pretty exciting. With that being said, too, coming up, we're actually way ahead of schedule, which is awesome. For 2023, 2022, we had the awesome opportunity to start working together with X2 Power. Our friends over there, the show's been powered by X2 for over probably almost 7-8 months now.
Yeah, 8 months, I believe. So almost 3/4 of last year.
Yeah, and this will be our first full year going in with X2. We're pretty pumped to take on 2023 and beyond with the crew over X2, which is a heck of a lot of fun. And perfect timing. He gets on here. It's like he's paying attention to the schedule. We have the X2 man himself, Mr. Sean Budiak. What's going on, Sean?
Hey, good evening.
What is that behind you? That's not a bat.
That's a snook.
That's a snook.
Nice. That's a beauty.
I did not catch that snook.
Oh, the truth comes out now.
My wife got that snook, Yeah.
That's awesome.
The biggest one I caught that day was about half that size.
Oh man, that's a trophy. Nice.
So she's
fish.
gonna hold that over your head every time people come over, right?
She makes sure she tells everyone for sure.
Oh,
It was a mistake. I shouldn't have even had it mounted.
Oh gosh. So wait, I can't really fast. I can't forget, or I can't remember. Are you a Vikings fan or a Packers fan?
Definitely not a Vikings fan.
All right, cool. I was just making sure. I don't know. Some people flip flop when they're Minnesota, Wisconsin. So yeah, so you had a good weekend then.
We had a great weekend. Great weekend, and this weekend's going to be even better.
Oh, yeah, you're playing the Lions.
The Lions on Sunday Night Football.
Oh, that's a good game. And it's like, if you win, it's what, like 84% chance you're in or something like that?
We win and we're in.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's the same thing for the Lions too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be an awesome game.
Yeah, that'll be perfect. Well, Sean, dude, one, obviously we're pumped to be working again with X2. Obviously the brand's a lot of fun where there's 100 million different battery brands in the industry. And I think we're the only ones that are having any sort of lick of fun. We joke about it all the time, like on the internal side of how batteries is like the one thing in a boat that you never really see. And, you know, so it's not like sexy, but I think X2 is doing a good job at making batteries sexy. Yeah.
That's right. There's a million brands out there, and, you know, we'll keep rolling with what we're doing and have a lot of fun while we're doing it.
Heck yeah. Well, do a little recap for us from your end of things on how like 2022 went, because with the launch of lithium, you know, it was a big year for X2.
Yeah, I think 2022 went about as good as it could go for us in what was just, I mean, everyone knows how crazy and ridiculous it was to get product and to get it on time for people and to get it in stores and get it online and all that stuff. And we fought some battles. You know, we had to, X2 Power's got automotive batteries, and honestly, we put the brakes on it and said,
wow,
I'd rather not have auto batteries. I'd rather have marine batteries, because that's where this thing's rolling and where we're getting people, you know, giving us great feedback, positive feedback, wanting to be part of this. You know, so from that angle, it was about as good as we could get it. We did launch lithium this year. We were able to launch at the Classic. In a little bit, we had dummy batteries because we were literally just waiting for that ship to arrive and get off the ports in California. But you know, we launched our two called marine deep cycle marine SKUs. We also launched our two kayak batteries this year. And I'd say for launch of this year, plenty of opportunities to continue to grow, but glad to get kind of, you know, break the ice, if you will, get the products out there and get ourselves ready for, you know, what's only going to be a better called brand product family, if you will, coming here in March that we're going to be showcasing at this year's Classic and launching in a big way. But yeah, you know, product wise has been great. You know, pro staff wise and all the things we've been doing, you know, have nothing but, you know, an amazing pro staff that have all, you know, had great feedback on the product and just continue to help us in really big ways, kind of spread the word, if you will, on a brand that's been around for a long time, and we're only really just now starting to truly celebrate it. So really can't complain about 2022. Some great numbers, some great growth. I get random, you know, direct messages through various, you know, social media platforms because of you guys or because of Alex Rudd. And, you know, love having, I was talking with the guy today, love having all those conversations because of this whole thing growing and, you know, having you guys be a part of it.
Heck yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's been, I mean, it's pretty cool to be one of the only podcasts, you know, having the X2 backing and obviously having Rudd be the only other podcast. It's cool because we obviously work in tandem. People on the Serious Angler platform are no strangers to that big bearded dude. But it's heck of a lot of fun, especially from our trip this past year we did in the fall and what we have coming up. And it's cool to see the team that we've built, you know, just being such a fresh brand. It's pretty cool to see what's going forward. That's for heck of a lot, sure. And obviously, there's more news coming.
Lots more news coming for sure.
Yeah. So, well, that being said, moving forward into 2023, what anything new that you can disclose?
Since it's you guys, we'll talk a little, you know, out of school, if you will. You know, I think what we got going on, yeah, I'd say it's going to kind of come out a little boring, but I think it's a pretty good testament to what we got going on. You know, our pro staff has been built, you know, really like February of, call it 2020, dates are mixed up, 2021. And I think one of the coolest things we got going on this year is everyone's back. No one's looking for any other deal or whatnot. In a world that's being like crazy filled with battery brands from everywhere, we got great partners who have helped us build from zero to what we're at now. And we're going to continue to invest in our partnerships, find ways to connect more with them. And we've got some folks that have reached out, called, and said, "Hey, I heard your product's pretty darn good. I'd like to test it out." Those types of deals. So we're pretty proud of that. I think our what's next and big in 2023, all probably starts with product. I kind of said we launched 4 SKUs. We launched the Group 31, the Group 27, a 1250, and a 1220. This year we are exploding that line. So more to come on that, but getting bigger, getting greater amperage for you guys. The guy I was talking to today was all about, I got 4 drafts, I got live scope, I want to start my motor, run my live well, can it handle it? Type of deal. So we were able to sit and chat about all that product and bring in what we're bringing forward with just a broader assortment, more power, continuing to push our Blue Top AGM across the board. No doubt our 2023 product offering that we're going to launch at the Classic is going to be outstanding. I think the other things we got going on, I think it's going to be a huge, leap into now year 3 of really connecting with everyone. All these guys on the chat that are talking to you right now, that look to you guys every single Tuesday night to have conversations. We want to start connecting, one-on-one, and find a way to do that like other brands don't. It's great to grow big, but growing big and ignoring, all the one-on-one communication, the one-on-one conversations we can build, is ultimately useless for us. So we got some huge things, and I'd probably close with, Bailey, you've kind of started us off with your, as Alex calls it, the little plastic boat. Starting us off in the kayak. Starting out in the kayak world is, you're obviously big into the kayak angling, like Adam and Andrew are into, the bass boat side of it. You're going to see us make some inroads there. That's just when you tie those 2 industries together, it's so cool to be part of both. And I can't wait to see how big of a first step we can take, to how big the next steps can be.
Yeah. Selfishly, I'm extremely pumped to go dive further into the kayak side of things and on both realms. I mean, we mentioned there's a lot of brands out there, and there's some brands that are doing a good job, but there's some brands that are, most of them that are just there to be there, and they're doing some things that are seeming like they're trying to be fun, but they're just doing it to do it, where we're doing it with a cause behind it and doing it with a concerted effort and a lot of strategy. And I think that's something that being as new as the brand is, I think sky's the limit here. So I'm pretty excited.
And Alex here just asked about distribution in New York. We'll be shipping this product pretty soon here. We had a little bit of a get it in the retail distribution side of our business, and we want to open up to the masses. Anyone in the Buffalo region or beyond that's following you guys watching tonight, we got to be able to connect you one-on-one with the brand, and we got sight lines to that this year too.
Heck yeah! Do you have time for a viewer question?
Of course, I do.
2 questions.
Oh, Deacon, did you have a question?
No. There's another viewer.
Yeah, there's another viewer question.
That's what Mike just threw out there.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So, Basser Mike asked, can you talk about using lithiums as a cranking battery?
So I'll sure. I'll take our angle on it. There's demand for it. The battery's getting there, and no doubt, we'll be pushing that envelope. The way as a guy who's been in the battery industry for 15 years, I kind of geek out a little bit on wanting to make sure that the battery's right for what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And many times saving 20 pounds or 30 pounds on a battery to crank your motor it's a nice thing to do, especially if you're hooking up a whole bunch of other stuff to it, but you probably don't need to invest there step 1. So we're not investing there step 1. Our step is just get ultimate deep cycle power. It's for all your graphs. It's for all your power poles and your various ridiculous amount of electronics that are sitting in bass boats or even kayaks these days. And that's where we're starting. So everything, I'll let something out of the bag. We are not introducing a cranky battery this year because I think there is way too much of a win in the deep cycle world. But it's on the radar. We know that Merck came out with the various approval process to get cranky batteries approved for their outboards. It's there. It's coming. And we're in tune with it. We're going to go there. It's just not the first thing I want to make sure we get to people. It's making sure the trolling motors and the drafts run more than anything. Honestly, a cheap battery at a Walmart can crank that motor if that's what you're really looking to do.
Yeah.
So we have the other question here from Levi Schneider asking if you have 200 amp lithium deep cycles, can they add a 80 amp deep cycle to make it 36 volts, or does it have to be another 100?
This is a really cool question as a battery guy. You can absolutely do that. Your problem is your system is only as good as your worst battery.
Mm-hmm.
So you just made a 36 volt, 80 amp hour system, but spent the money for two 100 amp hour batteries. It's kind of the same thing when people ask, well, I figured out which one's a crappy battery that I got. I just replaced it. Well, you put a brand new battery in a system with two other 3-year-old batteries, you're only going to get like 80% of that gas tank is usable. You got to replace them all, start from the same, and get them all in line. So, yes, you can do it. I'm not sure saving the extra dollars on it would be worth it because you just killed your entire system down to 20 amp hours less.
So they should just buy all 80 amp hours virtually and save even more money, probably.
Yeah, you could buy all 8. If they got 200 amp hours. If you have 200 amp hours in there, don't buy an 80 and go buy 100. If you got 80, go to get 2 more 80s, and just keep the amp hours roughly the same. Like if it's an 80 and a 875, or a 2-year-old 80 and a 1-year-old 80, it's going to be slightly different, but not enough that you'll notice. Ultimately, the rule of thumb is whether it comes to a bass boat or your TV remote with 4 AA's in it, don't replace 3 of the 4 AA's because that last one is what's going to take your whole system down.
Guilty.
Replace them all at the same time.
There's only three AA's in your drawer, so you figure out which one is the bad one. Yep.
I think we're all guilty of that.
Well, that's how we do.
And this is why we have Sean. Because we'd all be lost with our battery questions.
That's like that. It's almost like a softball is thrown there because that's that battery question that everyone violates it. Everyone figures out the one dead battery and wants to spend a couple $100 today instead of what it takes to do the whole system.
Yeah.
But you're better off today doing it and then living that life for 3 or 4 years on those great batteries.
Yeah. Well, and Sean, one thing I want to do too is, and this is a perfect shining moment to brag about you a little bit, is a lot of brands, when people have these specific questions, direct you to a customer service where they read from a sheet that they're given. When there's very specific questions, something like that's probably not thought of in a generic Q&A, where one, obviously you have the brains to do it, where a lot of these, I'm not going to obviously go out and call names, but they don't know that in depth about a battery to do this as efficiently.
Or about a bass boat system, man.
Right.
Like that's like intense when you start to combine batteries and all these electronics and everything involved.
Yep.
Yeah, and also the fact that you have the desire to go out and pursue people that are having troubles to make sure that it's right and actually help them out. And I think that's badass and that's awesome. And it's really cool to be working with a brand that believes in that has good people behind closed doors. So I think, again, to brag on you, that's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do more of that. We're gonna do more of that this year. Like I was on a phone call with Alex the other day talking about 2023, and I told him, I said, this isn't blowing smoke or anything like that. This is real. Like I want to, when one of your folks that's watching your show has a legit question about batteries, either we'll feed you guys the info to give them the right information, or these guys on here are going to be able to call me and connect whomever you are that has a question direct, and let's myself or Chris or the folks that we're working that have that battery knowledge. You do that once or twice and you guys will the industry once or twice on some real great experiences, and 80 people know immediately. It pays back on both sides.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think back to Bailey's point from the beginning of this, I've thought the same thing, is like no one really reaches out in the battery world the way that you like the amount of text messages that I have sent with your contact information on it about someone who is having battery problems at a tournament, and it's day 3, you're trying to fish the final day and having issues. It's a really cool aspect. And I have also learned a ton just by being kind of the middleman in some of these conversations. And like you said, be happy to kind of be on that, keep learning on exactly how all this stuff works, because it definitely can get complicated.
No doubt. One thing that's cool. So we have one more question for you. We're going to let you go. But one thing that's cool with that X2 is doing, and that we're continuing to add to, is the battery calculator. And that was another thing that was new for this past year, where, if you don't have the time or the resources to, say, try and get in touch with Sean or someone at X2, and you're just kind of curious, you're shopping around and want to go through the systems that you have and what you need, and you're shopping, they can get you pretty dang close to the power that you're going to need, and gives you different examples of, like, if you do AGM, how long it'll run for, price, lithium, how long it'll run for, what size you need. That's a pretty cool deal that we got going on too.
That was literally the conversation I was going back and forth with today on Messenger with a guy, and it was, I have these 4. When he started rattling it all off, straight to that calculator, because the way we set that up is, your boat's your boat, your setup's your setup. Go figure out exactly what Garmin unit, what Humminbird unit you're running, pick them. We know the amp hours that it's drawn at, kind of peak, and build your boat, pick your batteries, and we'll give you a good estimate on how long that, an AGM is going to last, a traditional flooded is going to last, and even a lithium is going to last.
Yeah, that's an awesome resource for somebody like me that doesn't know a lot about batteries. And I bug Sean about my questions, where I could go on a calculator, just put it in, and I'll know. It's perfect. All right. So our last question before we let you go, and obviously thank you again for taking time to join us here, 100%. Kicking off the year. Do you have a New Year's resolution?
My wife asked this question to me the other day, and I said I kind of never try to think of them, because it's almost like a jinx. Everyone who has one never ever fulfills that resolution.
I agree.
But I actually think I'll tie it to batteries, to fishing, to outdoors. I think if there's one thing that I've been, without a resolution, been working really hard on, is trying to get I got a soon-to-be 12-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son, and trying to get them to be part of everything outdoors versus everything digital is my goal. Right? They love to go jump on their Roblox and all that stuff, and I think we took a big first step literally yesterday. I went out pheasant hunting with some folks last week on a local game farm, and my daughter had written me a personal letter at Christmas, and just kind of thanked me for whatever throughout the year, but also said, hey, I really want, it was 2 things. Dad, let's do a good dinner date night, and Dad, can we go shooting?
Yes.
So of course, I bought a shotgun right away, and I'm like, yes.
That's awesome.
I think if I can do anything, it's figure out, not force them into anything. I need one thing, but just get my family outdoors and away from screens and devices is probably my biggest thing for 2023.
That's awesome.
Good resolution.
Yeah. Emmy's going to be winning some Lake Erie smallmouth tournaments in 20 years.
If she wasn't afraid of the boat.
Yeah, that'll change.
That'll pass.
The first quick story. The first time she went on the boat, she was all excited, and I got it going. I just coming down on pad, I've never heard a little girl scream so loud in my life. I had to turn around and drive her in and drop her off.
Step 1 is don't do 65 with your daughter the first time she's on a boat.
I was doing 12. I was breaking it in, trying to It was bad, but it was quite comical. So, but yeah.
I mean, honestly, on a bass boat, the first time ever, it's a little bit.
It's very intimidating for the first time. So
I think that it is really intimidating if you have if you've never fished really a tournament or anything, and then you sign up for Open or a Toyota Series as a co-angler. I can't imagine thinking about just how many times done 75 miles an hour down a lake or something, and then to think of someone who's never been in a bass boat, and you're like, well, I'm gonna go to my first spots right over here. Wow, you know what I mean? They just never experienced that. That would be wild.
I tell a story all the time. We just did. Bailey was down there with us. We did a shoot down Coosa River, and I was in Georgia for something else for work, and literally drove all the way across state to get there. Wes Logan's a local guy, and he said, I'll take you out in the morning for a couple hours. And we hit that river, and it was like that experience for me because he was going about 60, but the fog was so thick you could see about 15 feet in front of you. And I'm just going like,
we're going to die.
There's no log. There's no guy sitting there right in front of us. And we all started to see. It scared the hell out of me.
I remember Wes talking about that. Like he wasn't even looking at the water.
No, he's looking at his phone.
It's a Wes move.
I'm like ripping everything possible, hoping that it's something.
All of us here can relate because none of us, have, well, to my knowledge anyway, grown up in like the South, but the fog is something else. It is so much different. I mean, like I have never, until I started fishing tournaments, like in the South and in the Southeast, like it became a thing, like going down the lake and being on full pad and then being like, oh my gosh, I can't see anything. And boats are zipping by you. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. We experienced something similar on the Great Lakes. Like we'll get rolling fog in. So it'll be like super foggy.
I guess you do have humidity.
Bright sun. Like it happens a ton in the spring with all the convection. Will be like 80 degrees out, but the water's still 40. You'll get like walls of fog to where you can't see like 10 feet in front of you, and then the fog will roll by and be bright sunny, and you can literally watch it like roll in again. It's terrifying. And then you'll hear the big freighters blasting their horn from like 15 miles away.
That's the scariest part is fog with freighter waves. Oh gosh. It was one of the most fun moments ever on a bass boat, but also one of the most scariest moments on a bass boat was with Chris Johnston in the St. Lawrence River, where he saw the freighter waves and he didn't stop. Just straight ramp. And we were fine. It was fun, but it was also like my wrists were sore the rest of the day because I was holding on that hard.
Oh. And you said I was a bad boat driver.
It wasn't bad. It was just like you're expecting. You could see the waves coming. And most boaters are like slowing down.
Yeah.
Nope, straight throttle down, just go right to it.
Floor, pedal to the floorboard.
Hey, props. We got there faster than anybody else.
Yeah.
He's used to it living up there anyways. So
yeah. Well, Sean, appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Happy New Year, and we're looking forward to a fun 2023.
Happy New Year to you guys, and Happy New Year to everyone watching. And can't wait for Serious Angler next two to see what we can do in 2023.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah.
Awesome.
Take it easy, Sean. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
You have a good night. We'll see you soon.
See you. Oh man, this we brought up the bass boat thing, like your first time like on a bass boat, and it's got like that Vietnam flashback type deal. That was like Deacon, you brought it up like a tournament. It wasn't like a Toyota or anything. My first time ever in a bass boat was like a Tuesday nighter over here. Andy was on Canisius with my buddy Nate Poe, and like he helped. Like he was awesome in like my learning curve with fishing, like getting me out on a bass boat. But the first time ever is like, and he's a crazy boat driver, and I'll tell him that to his face. Like he's wild, and he just like behind people, throttle down, like try and walk it, hitting the waves, dude. I thought I was puckered the first time going 70 down a small lake. Yeah, it was wild. That brought up some old memories.
My most terrifying bass boat memory was the second one I was ever in. My best friend's dad at the time. Well, he still has it. The boat's been down for a few years, but he has an Allison XB 2002. We're doing 87, 88 miles an hour upriver, and we pull up into an area, and there's like 4 mile an hour current. He literally just yaws real hard left. I just about flew out of the boat. We went from like 75 to like 15, and I was like, he's like, I'm so sorry. I was like, man, you really don't like me. You're trying to throw me right out of the boat. He started laughing.
You must have not been catching him that day. He was tossing in the river.
No, we caught him really good on a jerkbait. It was my second ever tournament, 3-hour tournament. And the funniest part about it is he's sitting on the front deck tying up, and I have no idea how fast the boat is. And all the boats are launching. We're like 20 boats back now. And I was like, shouldn't we be going? He goes, we'll pass them. I'm like, what?
It's like, little do you know.
Yeah, in like 1 mile, I bet you we passed every boat. Like, that thing was just insane.
He's like, you gonna learn today.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no.
Hey, we have a first time live stream viewer. What's going on? Mostly skunking. Hopefully, if you listen to the podcast, you'll be semi-skunking by the end of the year.
That'd be great if he changed his name
like
to
it.
Semi-Skunkin, because
Yeah.
maybe we helped him with something. Nice.
Yeah, that's the goal, right?
Fantastic. Yes.
Well, one thing with this channel, this platform, the brand, this from the basketball wise and serious angler wise, just overall from the network, that was new for us last year was making some custom tackle. And that's been a heck of a lot of fun because you can put a lot of creativity behind it, some imagination, and kind of make what's yours. So if there's something, I mean, as anglers, when we start really diving deep into it, if there's something on the market that it just isn't just right, like this is a means to make something perfect in your eyes. So with Do It Molds has been a lot of fun to partner with them this past year, and obviously working with them again in 2023. So we have invited Mr. Brennan Chapman here to join us on the show. Brennan, what's going on, dude?
How's it going?
Howdy. How are things your way?
Cold.
Cold.
Are you still at the office, Brennan?
Yeah. I never leave, actually. I sleep right back here.
I was gonna
No,
say.
I live like 2 blocks away at best. So it's always easy to just like bounce in here, knock one of these out, come in, work, whatever. So yeah, no big deal.
So, question for you then: do you walk or do you still drive if you're only 2 blocks away?
I still drive. Yeah.
I don't blame you.
I still
This
drive.
time of year, woo!
Yeah,
I'm
right,
cold
right.
thinking
There's
about it.
actually a creek that goes right behind my house that runs right next to Do It here. So I could, in theory, kayak probably faster.
Get the
than drive.
Tupperware out. Oh
Still
boy.
drive.
There you go. Now you're thinking.
Oh my God.
See, in the summer when it's warm, you mean just get your board shorts on, get an inner tube, just drink on your way down, float down to work. You're good.
Paddleboard the whole way.
But then you have to walk back.
Right.
It would be nice if it would be the other way, like your way home.
Right.
Just
Right.
like-
Just make Drake drive you home.
Yeah, he could. I suppose he could.
Rack it up on top.
Now we're thinking.
For sure.
Well, how was your New Year's?
It was pretty uneventful, which is kind of the way I like it. So
Are you one of the bed by 9 p.m.ers?
I might have made it till like 10:30.
Now we're done.
Give me some credit, but yeah, it was pretty
I'm right
quiet
there
around
with
here.
you, Brennan. Right
Well,
there with you. I passed
you're-
out on the couch at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's another day for me. I don't know. How about you guys?
I mean, I think I made it till like 12:30. I wasn't even intending to watch the ball drop. We went out, my fiance, her sister, and her boyfriend to go watch the Georgia, I forgot, Ohio
OSU.
State game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like literally, I don't know if you guys have seen this on social, but like literally when the ball dropped was exactly when the missing field goal was kicked to end the game. Like perfect timing.
That.
Yeah, like when he kicked it, the ball was like at 1 or something like that going down. It was awesome. It was perfect timing. Like we had the bar we were at, the bartender was trying to do some like champagne speech. We're all just like watching the football game, and this kicker, I felt so bad for him. He just completely started his year off losing one of the biggest games of his life.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, it was
Bad
a
deal.
horrible kick for anybody that watched that one. But dude, for you and Do It Molds, how was your 22?
2022 is good for myself and Do It. I feel like, I think the fishing industry in whole, like we're probably down from 2020, 2021 numbers. I think that was pretty predictable, pretty forecastable. I think those 2 years were kind of an anomaly. I think now our job is retaining as much of those influx of new customers, new people in the fishing market as possible, but overall really strong. I had a great 2022, on and off the water. It was an awesome year. So I can't complain. I don't think Do It can complain. I think all in all, it was a good year, and looking forward to rolling into 2023.
I think a lot of people freaked out for whatever reason, freaked out about like the drop. Cause I think if for some reason you kept going up after this whole COVID era with fishing, that's a rare breed. Cause I think about everybody dropped and everyone kind of freaked out a little bit, but
yeah. I think it was fairly predictable. I mean, not to get on a full on tangent about industry stuff, cause I know we probably don't want to do that, but ICAST 2022 was all about, if you were at the state of the industry breakfast, right? We had a guest speaker, that pretty much just kind of patted everybody on the back in the fishing industry, like, wow, you guys are killing it. Things are looking good. Now here's your homework assignment. Go ahead and retain all these people. Like, do everything you can in your power to keep these people in the market. And that was kind of the emphasis. I think we all knew walking away from 2022 that, or 2021 rather, that it wasn't going to be an easy feat to, keep those numbers up. But I think that's just kind of the nature of the situation. So overall, things are really strong, and we're looking forward to 2023.
Heck yeah. Deacon, that's right up your alley.
Yeah, well, I think the only people that got into trouble, at least from people I've talked to, they just essentially overhired and overexpanded because they maybe were new to the marketplace and were like, hey, this is how it is. This is awesome. Let's roll.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, oh, wait, there's a kind of a normal level too. So
they forgot that the pendulum actually swings both ways.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt.
But yeah, I think it's kind of good to have a little bit of normalcy in the marketplace, to be honest, just because it kind of smooths things out. And also it comes back to consumers kind of getting some of the best qualities from brands, right? Like they're going to work hard for customers and those kinds of things. So looking forward to 2023.
For sure. That was one thing, and I don't think I'm unique in this sense, but like nobody in fishing, probably nobody in the world, definitely nobody in the world was doing the best that they could for their customers during that 2-year insane period of sales where everybody was just trying to do everything they could to keep their head above water. So it does feel really good to just return to some sense of normalcy, show up to work every day and feel like you have the time that you need to do everything, you can to move the company forward. So definitely feels good to be back to that, no doubt.
Heck yeah. Now looking forward, in 2023, anything new Do It Molds wise that you could chat about?
Yeah, new stuff wise. I mean, I can't leak like new product stuff quite yet. Maybe as we get like a little closer to ICAST. But yeah, we've got some hard hitting new products. I feel like our new products are going to be some really good stuff, no doubt. Definitely a step above last year. Something that we strive for every year to just grind hard, do better than the year before, right? Just like everybody kind of strives to do. But I feel new product wise, we're going to bring some heat this year. We've got some new stuff we're kind of kicking off right now to, kind of, I don't know what the right term is, offer some products that are more accessible to like somebody just getting into the DIY market or somebody that's just getting into custom tackle, that might not know everything that they need to get right off the get-go, but know that they want to do it, right? So we've got some kits that are aimed at that where, hey, you want to get into this? Like, here's a kit that has everything that you need to get started. We've got a crazy amount of videos, like 70 videos dedicated to showing people how to do this. So it's not so as intimidating, kind of breaking down that barrier to entry. So those kits are kind of a key initiative for us in 2023. You're going to see a lot more of them in the future, but these are just kind of some that we're throwing out there right now. Going to collect some data, things like that, find ways that we could do better, and honestly revamp them and go harder at it in the future.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the bundles. I think that's going to make a lot of things easy for people, like in terms of getting started.
Yeah. I think there's something that's been reoccurring in my head lately. I've been reading some good books on just like the idea, the concept, right, of like starting and just rolling into things first rather than necessarily having all the details ironed out in a lot of ways. And I feel like with custom tackle, you can get really overwhelmed with analysis paralysis of like, oh, there's this hook, and then, oh, there's this combo with this hook, and you need this. And like Andy talks about this hook, but then Bailey's like, that hook sucks. I like this hook better for this gig. And so like you kind of can overanalyze things. And I feel like sometimes you need to kind of go through it and get your own trials and tribulations on what you like. And so like a good starting way, like I think it's an awesome way to get things rolling.
Yeah, no question about it. It'll make it more accessible for people, which is ultimately the goal, because it's not it's like anything else. I mean, it's as difficult as you want to make it. You know, and the analysis paralysis doesn't stop no matter what level you're at. Like, you're always going to be like, you know, damn, I could make that better. And then you sit down for, you know, another afternoon and, you know, make some tweak or make a run of jigs or airbrush baits that, you know, you think you could do better than the last. So that never ends, believe me. And that's a good thing, I think. But yeah, for sure. The end goal is to just make this more accessible for people, because it's insanely simple. It really is. It's a time dedication, just like any hobby, right? So it's really just a time factor. I feel like I don't think it's hard, but I feel like most people, when they see what you can do, they see how simple it is. They're fascinated by the process. Like, damn, like I can do that in my basement or in my garage. Like, I can, you know, spend 2 hours out there and have all this tackle, and it's premium. Like, that's pretty cool. So it's just kind of, you know, letting people know that, and putting all the products in one bundle that they need to do this. So
yeah, and like Deacon mentioned, and you mentioned as well, like, it can be overwhelming, I think, especially when you talk about something that's more entry level, when they say they go to the Do It site and there's just like a giant list, because to your credit, you have so many options to make for different people that want to try different things, for one, but also want to tinker and try to get the best you know, bait that they can create. But on the flip side, somebody might look at that and might be overwhelmed, whereas the kits is a way to kind of simplify it, to get that start of like, here's basically what you need to get going. Once you pour it, if you want to change something, then you go back and you can look at the hooks, you can evaluate that, where you're creating a step ladder for people to get involved. And I think that's perfect.
Yeah, no question about it. No doubt.
Yeah. So one of my questions for you, just kind of on the train of being that you work for Do It, and I see you have probably one of the most hands-on time with the molds, whether soft baits, jigs, etc. Is if you had one soft bait mold and one jig head mold to go into that the whole next year, what would you pick?
Oh man, that's tough. You know, I'm a jig guy. I'm a dirty water Iowa fisherman, so it'd be hard for me to get away from a jig. Any one of our jig molds, I guess, if I could narrow it down to one, it'd probably be our hybrid grass jig mold, because it's kind of a swim jig and a dragging jig all at the same time. So it'd be hard to get away from that one for me. As far as a soft bait mold, gosh, this is cheating, but the one that I'm working on right now that nobody knows what it is.
Oh, that's
yeah. How's that one?
That's dirty, man.
Yeah.
Epic foreshadowing right there.
Yeah.
Dirty jig Iowa fishing, dirty, man. Like, wrestling in Iowa is dirt. Everything's dirty. They're just
yeah, it's corn and dirt and just dirtiness. So
I love that. Yeah. And that hybrid, that was this year, right? That was 2022 that came out, right?
That was 2022. Yeah. It's a great utility jig. I mean, honestly, it's a swim jig, like I was saying. Mm-hmm. It's got, you know, big recessed eye cavities for you to put a 3D eye in. Great keeper system. You know, it'll take a 30-degree hook, which is a great, you know, bend for both dragging and swimming. So all around, just a great bait, great jig mold. And like I was saying, soft bait wise, it's not fair for me to say, but it's for a plastic mold that we'll be releasing in 2023. That's going to be my favorite. So.
Do you have an idea when that comes out? Nick is asking in the chat.
The soft bait mold that I'm secretly referring to will launch at ICAST in July.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yes, hard 8 months.
Yeah. Just wait like 8 months. It'll be
no, wait, 7 months.
7, yeah. Even shorter.
Same. It's all the same.
It's a long time from now.
Right. I mean, you've had some banger ones recently in the past 6 months with the bushy beetle, and then there was the
Katana craw.
Katana craw.
Yep.
Yeah. That bushy beetle is a little badass. Jig trailer, punch bait, flipping bait.
Yeah, it's pretty wicked. It skips really good too. It glides forward. So it's like a pancaked flipping bait with oscillating claws, so it's just kind of flattened. So it really does like to glide. If you put a tungsten bullet weight on it, it'll actually kind of spiral, sort of like some of these Japanese baits that you're seeing more and more often. And then, yeah, wicked jig trailer too.
We have a comment from Adam S in the chat saying, "Can you start selling plastisol by the buckets?"
we do, Adam. We do sell plastisol by the buckets. Yeah,
got him.
We sell it in a 55-gallon drum if you want to go crazy.
Yeah, there
that
you go.
That is a bucket.
That's a lot of buckets. Yeah, that's 10 of them, I think.
Good gosh.
11, man. 5-gallon buckets. That's wild.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So one thing that's cool for 2023 as well for Do It Molds, and obviously still working together from the Serious Angler side, but one thing that was new for us, specifically Q4 on the network, was the creation of the Lure Lab, which was our new fishing tackle show that Andy's been kicking ass with. And one thing that's cool for people that are going to be listening and watching on the Lure Lab, because it does have its own MP3 and YouTube channel, which if you haven't heard the show, if this is your first time listening, all the links to Lure Lab are in all of our show notes. So you guys can quickly go down there and check it out if you want.
And on the website. And
on the website as well. If you want Lure Lab merch, we have Lure Lab merch now too. We'll have a new whole segment brought to you by Do It Molds, the Juice of the Week. I think that's going to be something pretty cool where Andy is going to make his guests, whether that be himself or the guest that he has on for that specific show, cough up some juice. He's forcing their hand against their will, blackmailing them to give up some secrets.
If they're coming on the show, they're giving up juice. It's just going to happen. So
that's right.
And it's not like as long as it's going to be like a surprise, like, hey, this is the question. We need some actual juice in this situation. Like this isn't like beforehand, I'm going to give you a tip that's not maybe necessarily going to play. Like, I think it's going to do some cool stuff, putting people on the spot.
Hold them accountable, Andy.
You know, we should do.
That's what we do, Brennan. All right. Like we hold everyone accountable with their actions. Sure. Okay.
So it would be awesome now that, wheels are turning a little bit. So we have the backdrop, obviously, for every show, but for Lure Lab, just for that segment, you should make it look like an interrogation table. You know what I'm saying? Where you have him on the other end of it.
Just put the table right underneath.
Yeah, we'll have you holding the lantern above it. Yeah,
just waterboarding people.
Yeah, that's right.
Just ask the question and back out of the screen and just put them in the middle and change the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Waterboarding. Did you use bait fuel?
Oh no.
I love it. Oh, that's awesome. Well, so for next year, looking at 2023, just for you specifically, not just Do It Molds, but any New Year's resolution or anything coming up, travel wise. Saw you went down to Texas to fish with Milliken. Any big trips?
Big trips, man. I'll be going to Sturgeon Bay. I do a yearly trip up to Sturgeon Bay, like the second week in May. Unfortunately, it's usually like right when the Sturgeon Bay Open is going on. So, all these giants pull up and gradually work their way to shallower until, ultimately they're spawning on beds. And that's usually right when the Sturgeon Bay Open is happening. So it's this massive interference. They still do their thing. They're still fish. They still got to do their thing, but you can definitely see the pressure trend start to take its toll on these fish. So I'm not quite sure. Maybe that makes me push my trip back a little bit. I don't want to bed fish them at all, but
hell yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. So sometime in May, maybe early June, I'll be up in Sturgeon Bay again for the yearly deal. Other than that, I'm trip wise, I'm not quite sure. I'm sure I'll end up somewhere across the country at some point fishing somewhere for a bass of some sort. But tournaments is probably going to be go a little harder with that tournament fishing. I'm probably going to commit to a few more bigger paying ones, some bigger fields. So I guess I don't have a resolution. Maybe it's catch more and bigger fish in a tournament. But yeah, that's kind of my plan right now.
Hell yeah.
I like it.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, dude, seriously appreciate you taking time out tonight. Oh, I guess one thing for the folks to know is fantasy fishing. We're gonna have Brendan's bright and shining face on for this year.
There we go.
We have our new competitor for fantasy fishing.
It's gonna be so fun.
You guys are going down.
Oh,
You don't know how serious I take
Just
my
like
fantasy
just like
fishing.
fantasy football playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Whoa.
Had to say it.
Come
Had
on,
to
man.
say it.
Too soon. Too soon.
Come on, dude. I was okay.
That was well timed.
10th pick, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I climbed the projections, things were going good, and then it went south in a hurry. And I did everything I could to bring the team back, but it didn't pan out. So
It's all a gamble. No
It's
matter
all a gamble.
what sport you play fantasy in, it's all a gamble.
Except for fantasy fishing. That's not a gamble. That's
Skill.
facts. I got a spreadsheet, dude.
That's
You don't even know.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Now you're talking my language. I want to see this spreadsheet.
All right. No, I'll show you after 2020.
I got
We'll
him.
see how this
All
season
right.
goes.
And then he's like, wait a second.
Yeah. If you finish last, I'll let you take a peek at it. All right.
You get 1 quarter, 5. You get like 5%.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
Yeah, we have some fun stuff coming up for fantasy fishing. We might have another member of the gang joining us for those fantasy fishing shows. But in addition to that, we're not going to release it now, but we have a fantasy fishing correspondent that is on the Elite Series that's going to be on every show to kind of give us a look into what's going on at the event, what the lake's looking like, kind of a inside scoop into what is going to be the deal for that event. So it's going to be pretty cool. And obviously giveaways as always. So a lot to come and join, have fun, talk shit to us in the standings while we talk shit to each other around here. It's a lot of fun. So hopefully everybody will be looking forward to that, as well as we'll have our fantasy group as always on Bassmaster that you guys can get in on.
Is our correspondent at the end before we go into talking about the lake, is he going to tell everyone not to pick him at every lake?
Most likely.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I figured that was coming.
We'll reveal him soon. I'm sure. We're trying to get all the details made up. But Brendan, for real, dude, thank you very much as always for joining us here, and I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.
Certainly. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Man.
Thanks, Brendan.
See you, no, so with talking about fantasy fishing, it's got me all excited again to get that started.
Dude, I just got rejuvenated.
So soon. It's like
It's a
a month?
It's a month.
Oh
Oh my god, it's a month. I keep thinking
we
it's like 3.
Yeah, we better get this figured out.
I'm gonna put that in my
Jeez.
interview if you.
Yeah,
Joke.
oh man, 2022. What a year. All I'm gonna say is what a year.
It was something.
It was.
2023 ain't off to a hot start, but that's what they say. You got the whole rest of the year to turn it around.
Make up for it.
That's right.
362 more days.
Yeah. So just kind of keeping the ball rolling here. We have more, guests, partner wise that we're going to come on the show. We were trying to get everybody on tonight, but it's hard to get everybody on one date, 1 hour, basically. But moving forward for this year, you guys have seen him on the show a few times on ours and Business from the Bass Boat. Steve Estes, he obviously runs Bass Fish Electronics, and they are jumping on board for 2023.
New partner, guys. Fired up.
Yeah.
Super excited about that.
And that's the one really cool thing going into is we kept everybody going into this year. We just added somebody new, which is super cool. Not many people could say that, and that's awesome to keep rolling.
Yeah, and just a quick synopsis on Bass Fishing Electronics. Steve did come on to a Business from the Bass Boat podcast this last year, so go back and listen to that if you want to get some kind of details on what they do. But they're an electronics dealer out of the northeast part of the country,
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire to be specific. And they ship all across the country though when it comes to electronic sales, and they're not biased, right? It's going to be all the brands. He's not going to try and upsell you a Humminbird because he works for Humminbird, right? Like it's what you want, and here's what we see and what we like and what we're seeing with customers. It's a very open process. and they rig boats if you are local to that area. But it's a pretty cool situation. Check out their website, check everything they've got going, and they've been awesome to jump on board with our crew for 2023.
Yeah. And like all other partners we worked with last year and discount codes, if you're interested in looking at bass fishing electronics, their website is down below in all of our show notes as well. Yeah, and there also, rumor is they might be getting into some kayak stuff for next year.
Big crazy
Smart.
Tupperware.
Yeah.
Tupperware Army.
Drop the mic.
Boom. I thought you were tipping in a kayak over there, Bailey. You're kind of doing this. Is that what it's like when a wave
I have
rolls
no
by?
idea what that was, to be honest with you. What was it? We were talking, it was like plastic
Yeah.
arm or something like that. Yeah.
Tupperware Army.
Yeah, we're gonna have a t-shirt coming out for Serious Dangler. I'm
Or
excited for it.
Tupperware Navy, one of the two.
T-shirt
It's-
line that we
Yeah.
have in the works for Serious Danglers.
There's so many.
Like, it is going to be ridiculous, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm okay. So just like when we talk internally, it's exciting and it's fun because we all just start laughing at the ideas because one, it's funny and they're true and everybody can relate to them. But two, I'm just excited to actually see out like on the water and in the wild. Like I want to see somebody at the Classic wearing these things because I'll probably see the shirt and just start laughing. And it's just gonna be cool to see the different content that people, that to me is gonna be pretty cool. We did apparel, like a pre-order stuff in the past, and honestly, that's been like a headache, and that's why we haven't had apparel in the meantime because inventorying and shipping and doing all that, getting a pre-order especially is a huge pain. But watching people I'd go to local tournaments and people have a Serious Angler hoodie on, or I'd show up at the Classic and some dude had a Serious Angler hat on. That's freaking sick. So the fact that we're going to be able to go to a Classic or Red Crest or even go to the local lakes around us and see a Biz from the Bass Boat hat or a Lure Lab hoodie or something like that. Like we even have freaking phone cases. So like stuff like that is going to be pretty cool to just kind of see people rep. It's awesome what we're building here, and that's all credit to you guys. And the Serious Angler stuff is the stuff I'm probably most excited about, honestly. So we'll unveil more as they come into being 100%.
right.
Speaking of apparel, we are also continuing to work with Blackfish this year, and we're actually working with trying to get some Serious Angler, Biz from the Bass Boat, some Serious Angler Network branded Blackfish sun hoodies for you guys this year. Trying to figure out how to do that, and but it is in the works, so do know that. But if you guys, whether you're from Colorado, you're from California, from Texas, if you're from Buffalo, and you're used to 90 degrees every day or 10 degrees, Blackfish has you covered because their motto is because we can't choose the weather, and that's if you're especially from Buffalo, that's a damn fact.
Literally can't choose it.
Yeah.
And it's not always right.
And it's almost never right. Although I will say, like, props to the meteorologists. The last 3 snowstorms that we've had, they have literally been on the dot, 2 or 3 days out what was happening. So I do feel like in the Buffalo, around Buffalo, which we have our own weather globe, it seems like just weird phenomenons happen. Our accuracy on weather for snow is getting better, but everything else you can kick it out the window. Rain, give me 100% chance of rain. It'll be sunny and no wind. It just doesn't make sense.
That's why we rely on you, Andy. You just have to walk outside and tell us what the weather's going to be for the day. It's right.
Blowing 18 east, not a good day.
Yeah.
Not good.
That's awesome. But yeah, if you guys want to check out anything Blackfish wise, all of our sponsors again down below in the show notes. And continuing on that, back with Omnia Fishing again for next year. We have our discount codes if you guys want to save money on your tackle orders, still 10% off on your entire order. We have our codes below, as well as if you haven't used the resource of fishing reports. I think they said they had over 15,000 total fishing reports now as of January 1st, this past year, which if you are looking for some inside scoop, some juice of some local people that fish your lakes, that's a cool resource to have. And we'll be having some more content this year coming from that in terms of lake breakdowns and such like that. So we'll have some different pop-up stuff, giveaways and all that jazz throughout the year where you guys can take advantage of it. But keep on the lookout for that. Anything you guys want to say on Omnia?
Yeah, just that they have continued to expand and add SKUs, and there are so from just thinking a year back from today to where we are now, Omnia, was kind of a new player in the online tackle retailer space to be in powerhouse in it and having all the stuff. I mean, it's pretty incredible and such a fantastic brand to work with, and the shipping's fast. It's a great situation. So if you guys haven't checked it out, in the premium membership side of things, $30 gets you way more than $30. Highly recommend.
Yeah, for sure. And like we talked about, like basically every single show in December, they run giveaways too. So when they run giveaways for free stuff, we'll let you guys know and all that jazz. But a lot of fun over there, as well as on the Lure Lab side of things. Every Lure Lab show moving forward will be plugged with baits. If and they're in that show, all the show notes will have links directly to those baits to make it super easy for you guys to go and buy the juice that Andy unfolds. And then last but not least, we are carrying on with Hobie Eyewear for next year. So if you guys are still looking for affordable, high-performing shades, and with some models that float for us clumsy anglers like myself, take advantage of those discount codes as well that you guys take advantage of, save some money on.
I'll say cue the kayak jokes some more, but I mean, the same thing happens on a boat because sometimes we'll like push them up on our head and you start to run, they just fly off. So like you're going to lose sunglasses. It happens. I think one of the best parts about Hobie Eyewear is the fact that they're affordable, good quality sunglasses.
Especially with the discount code.
Yeah, especially with the discount code. But like a lot of other brands are like $200-$300, and you can get a really good pair of sunglasses for like that $100 mark, and that just doesn't happen. So,
yeah, no doubt. So with that, obviously, we're pretty excited for this year, and there are still some opportunities. We're still in some talks with folks, so stay tuned for potentially some new people coming on board for this year. But those are the people we're rocking with as of now, and again, it's super cool to have basically the same team. We're just adding a new member for next year, so that's pretty awesome. But boys, before we wrap up, we asked everybody that came on the show tonight, Sean and Brendan, their New Year's resolutions. So I figured it's fitting if we did our New Year's resolutions. And honestly, Sean nailed it, where it's like, if you say it, you jinx it, basically. But it's basically what we're going to strive to do in 2023. Yeah. Would anybody care to take it off?
Yeah, I actually have two.
Let's hear them.
Yeah. One is I plan to take my little 3.5-year-old daughter come summer. She'll be 4. I want to get her fishing more. We went once last summer and she only lasted like 20 minutes, but she had an absolute riot doing it. So that's one plan. And 2 is to go largemouth fishing more because I just love going largemouth fishing.
So yeah, so if you're listening, Andy does guide trips for largemouth too. So make Andy happy. Ask for largemouth.
Well, one thing, Andy, dude, I think, like, have you ever seen the videos of like the little kids? Or in this case, I think there's one that went kind of viral that was a little girl in a live well, like asleep. I think that's the move, dude. Go on like a really hot day and just let her play in the live well, like swim around in the live well.
I have to get her to like the boat, being on the boat on the water first. Like as I'm getting all my tackle ready for like a guide trip the next day or a tournament or just going fishing, she will sit in the boat, sit there and like turn the wheel and pretend that she's like driving the boat. But as soon as we're on the water, forget about it. Like anything over like idle speed, even if it's like 1 mile an hour faster, just bloody murder. Like you can hear her 3 miles away. Like she's being just, yeah.
What Andy didn't tell us is he took his 3-year-old out on Lake Erie in 4-foot. Like, on Lake Erie. Like take her to some pond, please.
Andy. Sees this giant wave just coming down.
It's kind of funny you say that. We did go on Lake Erie the first time, and it was kind of windy, but I stayed like right by the harbor. Andy. I didn't go out. No, there like behind the walls is fine. It's like maybe a 1/4 inch chop. It's just the fact that she's never been on a boat of that caliber and just scared her. So that was her first ever boat experience, period. But she's like, I want to go on the boat. So yeah.
At least it's not running 50 miles an hour in the harbor on a Saturday in July. Behind the walls, I should say, too. That sucks.
The Cayman is much better now. Much better than that Triton was.
I couldn't feel my spine for 2 weeks one day when Andy took my dad.
Yeah, I wasn't even doing 50. I was doing
know.
35, just fast enough to keep it on pad.
We probably passed like maybe 20 wake boats, like houseboats that like you're reverberating off of these like harbor walls.
Yeah.
And so my dad's and Andy are in the cushion seats, obviously, and the Triton didn't have the middle seat. So I'm sitting, and we didn't have a cushion. So I'm just sitting on like the cup holders basically. And I just, I got my butt kicked.
Nice.
Literally.
Love a bouncy boat ride.
Again. Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of get used to it after a while. Big old pounding.
Good grief.
Spine gets used to that compression just over and over.
Once all your discs are dead, I mean, there's nothing to worry about anymore.
Exactly. Just fuse them all together. You'll be all right.
Enough aspirin, you're good to go. Shotgun a beer, you'll be all right. Suck it up. Oh, man. Deacon, what about you, dude?
Dude, I am not a big New Year's resolution guy. I'm just not. Like I'm more of a goals guy. Like, maybe I really like the shorter window goals too, like 90 days or less kind of a thing to work towards a big goal. So I guess kind of along those lines, it'd probably be just around fishing wise. It would probably be, man, I'd like, what?
Sorry to cut you out. This comment
from
Luke.
Ouch.
That's awesome.
Ouch.
Luke is he's a hammer in the kayak space and obviously quite the jokester. That's amazing.
That's really good.
Ouch.
Sorry, but carry on.
It'd probably be to catch more big smallmouth for the year. I caught some good ones last year. The year before have been kind of breaking my own PB kind of a thing, and would like to continue that road of things when it comes to fishing, and then I'd like to make the nation championship Bassmaster wise. I'm fishing in the regional this year in Oklahoma, so it'd be cool to try and get there and get to the classic from there. So those are two big goals.
That's that's the individual one, right? Not the team that you fished before, right? Okay.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it sounds like the smallmouth one. You got the northeast bug.
I know.
Yeah, goes to Champlain and St. Lawrence once,
and Northwest, man. Yeah, that did it, and then also the Northwest hurt me a little bit too. I was like, wow, this is pretty nifty up here. So
yeah, people are paying attention to what's going on over there. We'll keep it there, but it's eye opening. But yeah, dude, I'm right with you though. With you there on the. With you there, but also with Brendan on like the New Year's is just another day type of thing for me. But not to bring us back to the introduction, but like with this whole thing going with the last night and all that crap going down, seeing what's happened with Buffalo, like it got me thinking of not really a resolution per se, but more just something to do moving forward, not just like a next year, but how going back to how fast life can change. And I spend so much time of my day like focusing on work or serious angle or fishing or things we have to do around the house. And, Ann and I are we have a wedding coming up and we're trying to get a house and spending so much time stressing about stuff that I forget to take care of like my brain specifically, like doing time to like clear the brain. So I don't know my route yet, but it had me thinking today specifically of like things I could do to make sure I'm here for the long haul type of deal, where I did a horrible job of that in 2022, to be quite frank, taking care of myself. So that is the plan for 2023 and beyond, not just next year.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's important stuff for real.
It hit hard. I think I'm not the only one that feels that way after watching what happened, whether you watched it or not. I think everybody see what's going on. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's thinking that way, but regardless, it makes us appreciate those around us, and I appreciate you boys. Appreciate another year, and looking forward to 2023 because sky's the limit to the moon, as we say in our chats. But more so excited to see people with some damn serious dangler merch this year.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
be awesome.
Heck yeah. And for folks, if you guys are going to the Classic or Red Crest, hit us up. We intend to try to be at both. tried the whole group, I should say, as both. We'll try to be at both. So hit us up if you're going to be there. Grab a beer or something. We'll figure something out. But boys, anything else before we close out here?
No, at this moment, no.
Excited for things to come, especially fantasy fishing, man. That got me hyped up. Brendan came on. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
New person.
Yeah, I'm glad that he brought that up about like 1 month away, because I've like
and start focusing up.
Yeah, it's like because the first derby's what, Okeechobee, right? Is that right, or is it 7?
Yep, mid-February.
Yeah. Oh
Okeechobee.
man.
Yeah.
Ooh,
It's gonna be wild.
That's gonna be. Oh yeah, I already know. I already know who everyone is picking.
I'm looking forward to derb season, man, in all aspects, from the pro level to our own stuff. Like, it's starting to roll. We've got the first BFL happening on Rayburn in a couple of days. Like, it's like crazy how fast the year turns over. And you think you have all this time, especially with places where we live, where there's hard water. You're like, oh, it's nice to it is really nice to get in a cycle of like getting work done, getting the podcast going, like everything's running smooth. And then it's like chaos is coming, but it's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Like we were joking. We have our new stream back thing. You can see Andy peeking over me. You guys will see it on future shows. Yeah. That's what the tournament season's doing. It's peeking over at us right now. Like, I'm about to get you. Cause fancy fishing starting in a month. I'll be down. I'm going down to Florida from February 3rd until probably almost the end of the month. I might spend the whole month in February with my parents. I'm fishing some derbs down there. So It's kicking in fast, boys. Like, it's and the nice part is there's still lakes here in New York that are open that I'm trying to get on if I can get the time. But it's season's right around the corner. It feels like it literally just ended, because it did literally just end. But excited for what is to come. Heck yeah. Well, fellas, if you have not, everyone watching, listening, if you haven't checked out the new Biz from the Bass episode on Blazer Boats, that's some pretty cool stuff that they unleashed on that episode yesterday. I highly encourage you to check that out. And as further ado, we'll see y'all on Friday.